story. Yes. So thank you guys so much for being here. We are so thrilled to have you guys here. This is such an important story for all of America, Black America. We're just so grateful to have you guys telling the story on such a big scale. So thank you for that.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for staying and watching. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and then we're going to grab some questions from the audience, okay?
Awesome.
For everybody? Everyone feeling good?
Yes.
Okay. So, Richard, you're the director of this piece. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. I would love to know, and I'm going to throw this question to all of you guys. You know, why did you feel like this story was so important to tell, and why do you think it was important to tell now in this particular time period?
Well, for me, I got the idea to do the movie first generally by just being kind of taken with the president and the first lady and their relationship, the way that they look at each other.
Quiet down,
But no, just kind of the way they look at each other, the way they flirt. There's a special connection between them, and I think it's on display for. Now, come on. No, but I think it's on display for the world to see, and I think it's rare in people that you meet, and it's even rarer in a president and a first lady and political figures. So then when I read about the first date, the movie sort of came fully formed because it was this epic jaunt across Chicago, and the conflict was she wasn't interested in him at first, and he had one day to win her over. She gave him one day to make his case, and by her own admission, he won her over at the end of that day, and I related to that.
Tika, why was the story so important to you?
Well, one, we don't get to see that many Black people who are falling in love on screen, and you don't get to see the complexities and the moments that they have. And when I read Richard's script, I was blown away by it was more of the moments and the intimacy, but without being overt and taking off clothes and jumping in bed the first moment, but really getting to know each other. And it was just also nice for the woman to be the prize. I think a lot of the times we don't get that, especially Black women, to be the prize and to not dumb herself down for anyone. So I really, really enjoyed that, and I just enjoyed the discovery of each other in the moments.
Yeah, for me, the Obamas are hugely inspiring, and not just for Black people or minorities, but Americans in general. So I thought it was an important story and interesting to see where they started, and we highlight their humble beginnings. So you see the journey from where they started to where they are now, and I think it's just inspiring.
Absolutely, yeah. And there were a couple key moments where you see Michelle start to turn towards him. I would love to know why you felt like it was important, and this can go across the line, but important to highlight the Black church. Because it was the moment in the church that he's speaking and you see her soften a little bit. Or the moment when he gets her ice cream and that thoughtfulness and you see her softening a little bit. So if you can just talk about those pivotal moments and what they meant to you and why you think they were turnkey for that relationship.
Well, actually, it was the First Lady herself who talked about a community event that Barack took her to early in the courtship. It wasn't the first date, but I put it in here because it made sense dramatically. Where she saw another side of him when he was speaking to a group, and I knew I was going to make it really hard for Barack in this movie, but there needed to be some turning point. There needed to be some point where it becomes a date. And the guard's down. She's still not totally won over at that point, but the guard's down and they're ready to talk in a more flirtatious and kind of connect on a different level. So that seemed to be it for me because he wanted to show her what he'd been doing the last 3 years and what really moved him and got him out of bed in the morning. And also true to life is that Michelle at that time was unhappy with the law firm that she was at. That is public knowledge, and so it dovetailed nicely. Him having this he was striving at that time to do more and realizing his place in the world, and she was just beginning to think about that too.
And Tika, if you can just speak a little bit to, playing Michelle and going through those roller coaster moments and emotions of, having to adjust and feeling guarded and then opening up. If you can just speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was real. I mean, Richard's direction really helped me, throughout the journey, because obviously I didn't want to be too hard, but then I also didn't want to give in too much, and I wanted to have those moments unfold, like he said, but I think at the church, that's where she saw a lot of his character, and by her own admission, it was the character of the man who really won her over. And I think that he wanted to do more. They both wanted to be more. I think that opened up the conversation. So with that in mind, that helped with, the different moments. And I think she, even through her sarcasm in the beginning, I think there was a flirtation, even in the, at the Art Institute, Just
it was a challenge.
Yeah, it was a challenge, but there was like this sexy kind of, even with the Gwendolyn Brooks moment, There was just this, you don't see her looking at him like, but you're like, damn, he knows that? You know what I mean? It's like, that's hot, So the intelligence, the intellect. So I wanted to, I don't know, all that mattered in playing those moments for her.
And Parker, you had to be Casanova over there, so if you could just speak a little bit to, playing that role up so fully that you were able to, soften Michelle.
Right. Yeah, I mean, definitely during the community meeting, she sees that he's a good guy. He's got a good heart, and she sees that, as she says afterwards, that being around people who adore him and find him to be motivating and inspiring. He's not just a smooth talker. He's got some depth to him, which we all do, and it takes a few hours to see that sometimes. Yeah. So it was a great scene to shoot, and it was a pivotal moment in the movie that sold it.
I was just going to add that you kind of think that scene is about him, but it actually ends up being about her. And one of the great things about directing Tika is that she probably could have been a great silent film actress too, because her expressions are so expressive, and there's a push into her face while she's realizing that he was directing the speech towards her, that you can't write that kind of stuff. It can only come from an actress and a great actress. So I think that sells the whole turn that you were talking about.
And you guys killed it as Brock and Michelle. I know that our audience. I know it's a heavy load to carry too, because those are like the most iconic characters in Black America right now. So you guys carried that so well and so gracefully. So I know that they're curious to know, what was your preparation process like? Like, were you sitting watching those speeches and tell us about that?
Yeah, I watched a few of the speeches, but then there's video of him from 29 to 33 that's on YouTube. So I watched that to get the younger Obama. And then Rich and Tika would tell me to dial it back if I was being too much of the older presidential. And I read his books to get into the mind of somebody who at 28 was charming and eloquent and intelligent and moved himself around a little bit, and that's where his confidence comes from, not just like a brash confidence, but it was built on the things that he knew he was capable of. And then just learn the script like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we really prepared. We had 17 days to shoot it, and Rich made any video of her at 25 years old. So her brother's book, Game of Character, Craig Robinson's book, really informed me about who she was at the time. Just getting her dialect down, that was important. Like, if you closed your eyes, you can still hear her. And some of her mannerisms, and just her confidence, her confidence. That's what I wanted to make sure that you saw the essence of that. That was important to me.
And Richard, if you can just speak a little bit to the casting process,
Yeah, well, Tika came early because the outline that I had written for the script was about a page long. I was getting ready to write it, and I gave it to a friend and said, "Don't show this to anyone." And of course, he showed it to Tika, I'm really grateful that he did. Yeah, because so we met up, and I was familiar with Tika's work, but it was really during that meeting, where she pretty much said to me, "I want to play the part, but even if you don't cast me, I want to help you get the movie made." And it was just pretty boss. I walked away just feeling that she had the ambition and intelligence and passion to play a young Michelle. So I went and wrote the script with her in mind. And I just hoped she would say yes after that. And she did. And we teamed up as producing partners and, backed each other. First lead in a movie, first time directing, and we got the thing done. And it was a great team effort. And then Parker came about in a more traditional way. We were reading about 30 actors in the Los Angeles area, and then some tapes would come in from around the world. And Parker lives in the UK, but he's an American actor. His tape came in, and obviously the resemblance is uncanny in a lot of ways. But the first the first audition was something like this.
Michelle, I would like to take you on a date. Would you say yes?
And we said no. That's not it. But that's it. That's awesome.
So we had a conversation, and I pretty much just said, drop the guy you see on TV every night. Just forget about him, and you're just a guy trying to get a girl. And he did listen to me, but he also let the impression or the mimicry bubble up in organic ways. So he didn't totally forget about it, but he brought more of himself to the part, and he played the character on the page. And little Obama-isms, if you will, were still there in all the right ways. And it was a pretty spectacular tape that doesn't have too many differences than the performance you just saw in the movie. So we just looked at it and we were like, yeah.
That's it. I would love to take a question from the audience. Do you guys have any questions? Anybody?
I actually do. We have our one. I have one.
Pass it. We'll pass it. We'll share. We're family here.
So my question is, has the First Lady and President seen this film? And if so, what has been their reaction?
That's the $1 million question. They definitely know about it. John Legend's an executive producer on it. We have some friends who saw it, and we're also friends with them. They definitely know about it. There's some excitement about it. They definitely want to see it, but we don't know if they have yet. It's probably a little weird for them to see themselves, and they know the story. But all we can say is that we're really proud of what we did, and hopefully they love it, and give us a call and just say, good job.
Thumbs up. Or fist pound.
Or pounds, yeah. That's right.
Hi guys, my question is actually for Parker. Your mannerism. I notice I'm very observant. So I noticed that you're right-handed, but in the movie you were left-handed, intentionally because our president is left-handed. Were there any other mannerisms that you had to flip, or there were things that were innate to you? Because I'm like listening to your voice and I'm closing it and I'm like, you don't sound like Barack now, but on the film you did. And so what were your preparation? I know she asked, but the little things that you actually had to go, I had to switch.
Yeah, that was from watching videos, and he gestures with both. The president does with both, and the makeup lady after the community meeting, she was like, Barack's left-handed and you keep gesturing with your right. I was like, you go watch the tape. I didn't. He does with both. The walk, a little bit of his walk is swagger. This sort of thing, the way he looks,
Yes.
kind of to the side, when he really wants to make a point. And then he touches a lot. I think it's a power play. Now Bill, we talked to Bill O'Reilly. Now Bill, that's just not true. So yeah, it was just from watching it.
And how calm he is. So
yeah, very
think
calm.
How calm he is. Even I think when you guys were interacting, he just you will go and you'll say something and you'll wait a beat before he answers. And just the little things that I noticed that I was like, is that you really in real life? So that was the first thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, but it's also, when I said building his confidence on what he's been through, I think he's used to, if he's moving from Hawaii to Indonesia, Hawaii to California to Colombia, if he's used to just, things will work out, I'll do all right. I know how strong my brain is, I'll figure it out. And even on the date, it's like, just 20 more minutes and you'll like me. Pie? No? So, yeah, that was based on like his actual, what I deemed where his confidence comes from. And that's where his calmness, his soothing personality.
He's calm though, in real life.
Oh, good, yeah.
I'm hyper.
He's
but,
hyper calm. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
He's a calming spirit.
What's next? I mean, you guys did, it was a success in the movie. I mean, in my idea, I think everyone else enjoyed it. What's next for your projects, like, lined up after this?
Well, I think we're both looking for really good scripts movie-wise. I'm on a show right now called Halves, and I just teamed up with John Legend to produce Black Wall Street on the WGN network. So we're going to be developing that, and you know, I think for me it's about creating content and creating opportunities for other people as well, and being in the room where it happens, where you can make a decision and have a yes or no and say how things go. That's really important for me. This whole experience was really empowering, and I just want to be able to create ways for others as well, and just get more leads and things like that. I think that's important. I think, you know, images are powerful, and if you don't see them, sometimes you're not validated. Angela! Hasn't had enough! There you go! Hey, yes.
Well, thank you, Tika. No, I was spoiled on this. I mean, you gotta understand how good this script and how rare a script this good is in our industry. And so I'm looking for something that can live up to it. I'm looking for a co-star that can live up to the experience. And the director, I mean, it was an amazing shoot, wasn't it? And so,
It was.
yeah, I'm trying to look for something that is positive, and you know, it's a film that I've seen people leave screenings and they're like smiling, and that's dope. And so, yeah, I want to do something like that. So I'm looking at it.
It's hard, it's hard.
I'll ask a question. So I was just curious about, one, sort of the first time we meet Barack, he's smoking, and I noticed that was really a consistent theme throughout the movie. So I just was curious as to, like, sort of what was the thought process behind that. And then secondly, just the placement of the movie, Do the Right Thing. Was that just kind of how you thought about that scene, as well as, you know, Michelle kind of had an interaction with her boss during that time period as well, so there's a lot going on there. So just, you know, kind of hear your thoughts about those two.
Do you want to repeat this question, Amy?
Yeah, so we want to know about the opening scene and
just the
Barack
smoking.
Obama smoking and that being a big thing, and then also the placement of Do the Right Thing and the importance of it within the film, and why you felt like that was also a pivotal moment in the plot, in the narrative.
Yeah, well, with the smoking, I mean, it's pretty well known that he smoked, and I just know when I was a smoker, it was about a pack a day, you know, in my late 20s. So Parker, I think, experienced a similar thing, and we just talked also about how there's sort of he uses the cigarettes as a crutch at certain points. Like if you notice when they're walking through the park and he starts to talk about his father, cigarette comes out. When he's asked about the white girlfriend at the bar, cigarette comes out. So, and Michelle, we're kind of keeping tabs on her, keeping tabs of him. So when you see it a second time, some of that might come through more. But it was a choice because I didn't know for sure that he was a chain smoker. But I just when you read about the amount that he was sitting around reading in his younger days, voracious reader, I just know that as a reader myself, you smoke. So I just sort of put it in that way. And then as far as Do the Right Thing, they did in fact see Do the Right Thing on its opening weekend on their first date. And they did in fact run into a partner at the law firm, a white partner at the law firm. It was not that situation. They actually, is sort of a different character because they had a great friendship with that partner. But I just always had a comical idea about Do the Right Thing in my mind. It's one of my favorite movies. And it's always been funny to me how my white friends don't get the ending, but my black friends get it on an emotional level. And Spike Lee has talked about that a lot. And so I just thought it would be a really good opportunity to sort of, as using that movie as a microcosm, to lay out the differences in the sides, you know, that people take. And of course, Barack can straddle the line between what a white person wants to hear and what the truth is. And that's because he's uniquely suited to do that as a biracial man. Michelle in that scene is dealing with an entirely different set of complications, which comes from gender issues. And I don't know where that came from. It just, I was making the boss kind of ignorant anyway, so I figured I'd throw that into the mix.
Over here. One more. My last question? Yes. But funny you mentioned the dynamic of the backgrounds of the two. Would love to know the insight around Barack's grandmother and mother's view of Michelle, if you know, in your reading, because it sounded like the grandmother was kind of like, oh, she's black now, looking for Barack to maybe go that different direction. So love any insight on like just how did that play out, if you know.
You mean after they started?
I mean, I don't
dating?
know, because I noticed that you found enough. I'm assuming you did enough research to know that she had.
You mean two in the beginning?
Well, so yeah, in the beginning she's sort of dancing around race, right?
Right.
She's like, what does she look like? And
Where's she from? Right.
Yeah. And I mean, that was twofold. It was one, he's made some remarks over the course of the elections and the presidency about, you know, his white grandmother having her own biases, racial biases, and it doesn't mean she's not a good person. It just means she was raised in a different time and in a different place. And so I just sort of extrapolated from that maybe she would question, you know, especially a guy who did date different ethnicities, maybe she'd kind of be wondering if there's a new girl, what's her race, you know? And I also read something too where he talked about how his grandmother would talk in platitudes. It would sort of be like, oh, okay, that's great, even if she didn't actually feel that way. So I just tried to put that.
That's awesome. I think there's one.
One more question. Understanding how iconic these two people are, Barack and Michelle, how have you guys kind of looked at, or have you even thought about the legacy that this could have on black couples and black love, and also the characters that you guys are playing, the legacy that this movie can have on romanticizing these two iconic individuals?
I haven't really thought of it like that. I think I'm just now really understanding, going to these screenings, how it is affecting people and how people are really interested in. I haven't really thought of legacy or any of that. I just knew that this is telling me that it's necessary.
Yeah.
And people need to be fed.
Yeah.
And there's a thirst for it. So hopefully, you know, I think August 26th, that weekend, is going to be really important for people to get the word out and you know, for people to see. But I already feel like it's a success because movies don't even get greenlit or funded. It's coming out in a good release, and you guys are confirming what we already kind of knew in the beginning, how important this was. So, but I haven't thought about legacy. I just thought this is an amazing film, and if legacy and all that great stuff, if we're counted as one of the great ones, awesome.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, I don't even consider myself an actor. I'm more of an artist, as pretentious as it sounds. So I'm just happy that I'm part of a piece of art, like a true, in history of film or art history. To me, it's a piece of art that can inspire. And I hope, you know, I have 2 children, and I hope they can see it and they witness intelligent conversation and the added benefit that we see the real people in real life who went on to do amazing things, that it just represents something really big to them and an idea and an image that they can point to, like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, and I think it's as simple as there was this one screening that this 8-year-old girl came to, and her mom and dad were there, and the dad said, you know, she started inquiring about their love, like Daddy, how was it with you and Mommy? You know, I think that's important. You know what I mean? It's starting a real necessary conversation to see that love up there, and then to see it with your family. And I don't know, there are a few little girls who were just like excited about it. So I think that imagery is really important, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to make a movie every day, especially didn't have a lot of money. We had a really short shooting schedule, so you're just trying to manage telling a story. And this was a love story, and we wanted to tell a credible love story. So all this stuff that's happening now, reactions, it's just gravy on top, because we got a chance to tell the story and to do it the way we wanted to. I'd actually be more interested in what you think the legacy is going to be, and how it moved you, because my opinion doesn't mean anything at this point.
I mean, as a viewer, really understanding these are two people that have changed people's lives overall, not just because they've done such great jobs in office, which I think he's done, but the visibility of seeing a black couple worldwide that has impacted so many people. When I travel abroad, people are like, oh, Barack Michelle. So to actually see their love story develop and see from the beginning, I think it's going to impact a lot of people. I think that there was a lot of women who, and men as well, who actually were really touched and saw themselves in this picture. So to be able to do that on a national level, on an international level, and people who are so iconic and romanticized, I think the legacy of this is going to be remembered for a long time. And
That means a lot.
I have a quick question. I'm a music girl. The film was brilliant. I know everyone in the audience wants to know, because we were all Shazamming. Was that John Legend's song?
That's his new song, yeah.
And who is the soundtrack distributed through? Because I work at a record label. I'm just curious.
Columbia's releasing the soundtrack.
But we were Shazamming, and nothing is coming up yet.
Yeah, it's a song off his new album, but he wrote it for the movie. So
The last song?
Yeah.
Oh, Star?
Right, Star. So I just had to see it real quick.
That was a great question. Just as a final statement, excuse me, folks.
Just as a final statement, I just want to thank you guys, because I think what the audience is feeling and what I'm feeling is you all made it real for us. And a lot of times Barack and Michelle Obama, they have this banner romanticized over them, and it doesn't feel attainable, and maybe it feels too out of reach. But seeing those real moments between them in real life, it almost made us feel like that was in all of our grasps. And that's something that we could all attain. So I just want to thank you guys for bringing that story to us and making it real for us, so that in our simple dates and our simple interactions, we can see that you can create an entire legacy, an entire history. Hashtag relationship goals. Thank you so much, Parker, Tika, Richard. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
So guys, feel free to mingle
Yeah.
and hang out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.